think it's really going to matter that much for me personally, who gets elected president. The past several years have been absolutely horrible for me. That was a Democrat as president who did that to me. Someone who should have known better, who should have done better, who should have extrapolated from his own experiences as being someone who doesn't look white, what discrimination means, what bullying is, those kinds of things. But he didn't. He proved himself. President Obama proved himself to be certainly no better than your average white male politician in terms of those issues. It was horrible. It's been horrible, absolutely horrible. But here I am. I've survived it, and I'm actually doing pretty well considering what I'm going through and what I've been through, And I knew from the very beginning that what I had to do was to continue to try to do things that were positive and productive. Try to find housing, try to find work, try to get into school. Try not to let my anger about what's happening to me control me, that kind of thing. Continue to try to make the same arguments, and just make sure that I wasn't doing things that made my life harder, in addition to everything else that the people who were causing my life to be so painful and awful were doing to me. And that works. It always works. Even when you don't have a lot of options, the options that are the ones that are the options that are about being positive and productive, in whatever context that you're in, are the ones that you need to be choosing. So that's what I did. So, I'm still trying to put my life together. It's very difficult, but I have survived. I've survived what's happened in the past 6 years. So yeah, actually, personally, for me, and the problem is probably going to cause me just personally, probably Bernie Sanders is the worst person to be elected president for me. He has had his home in Vermont for years and years and years, and knows my parents. They're not close or anything. I mean, they're not close friends, but that entire group of people kind of knew each other when they were, 10 years younger than I am now. In their 30s. He is, and he certainly knows people that my father knows, and never, really, almost never, during all the time that I was still talking to my parents, which I never will again. I will never speak to my mother and father again, ever, never. During the time when I was, a late teenager, and kind of all the way up to the end, really, I never really got support from anybody that they knew, and there wasn't really anybody else in Vermont for me to talk to in terms of adults. Some people were more supportive than others. There were some people that I depended on to help me, but there just kind of was never. So, for example, I would try to go and talk to some of their friends about what was happening, just the cruelty, the emotional abuse, the unkindness, which was just really, it was absolutely horrible. Really, it's one thing to have no advantages in the first place. It's another thing to have be from a family that has advantages, and at their whim uses those advantages against you to keep you in a bad situation, even if it's just trash talking you to all the people that they know. And my parents and I do not have. It was just terrible for years and years and years. Sometimes it was a little bit better, as long as I didn't challenge them, really, kind of about anything. And finally, they showed themselves to be really terrible people, and that's all there is to it. As sad as that is, that's all there is to it. And I think for the most part, I am not the one who was believed about what it was like to be their kid. And I just the thought of it But I'm sure it's occurred to my parents. They thought that if Bernie Sanders gets to be elected president, you know, they could be visiting the White House. I'm sure it has occurred to them. And certainly it's not something I could stop from happening. I don't want to make their lives, you know, more painful or miserable than they make them themselves. They are people who have been for years, to a certain extent, just, I don't know, very interested in things like status. I would say that what they did to me in the months before I left their house for the final time was just unbelievable. I just could not believe the way that they had treated me. They gaslit me. They were tormenting me, emotionally tormenting me the entire time, and then just waiting for me to say, you know, stop, so that they could say, oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. My parents are vicious liars. They're vicious liars. They are. And whether or not that's ever going to change, I don't know. And some people are really good friends to their friends, and just are not good to their kids. Some people are like that. So, you know, and certainly they're not going to admit what they did to me. I have tried to be fair, you know, fair to the country, fair to the world, when I've talked about the presidential candidates. But certainly for me personally, Bernie Sanders would probably be the worst guy to have in office. You know, at least Hillary Clinton is female. In one way or another, I think it won't be that difficult for me to make her understand where I'm at with things. You know, she's not totally insensitive to it. And her connection to another side of my family is, you know, I don't know how well she knows them. I don't think they talk on the phone or anything. And although I was mistreated by some people in that family, that side of my family, it wasn't for years and years and years. So hopefully it wouldn't be quite, you know, it's not going to be as much of a big deal. Whether or not she is the better candidate of the two of them, of her and Bernie Sanders, that I just can't say. You know? They're all pretty bad. They're all pretty bad, yeah. Yeah, it is a very sad time for the United States and for the world.